Zoom session. After we get done, we'll upload it to our YouTube channel. At any time, if you want to go back and look at it and reference any of the information, you can. Here's a link to our YouTube channel. And then I kind of covered before, if you have any questions during the presentation, go ahead and type them in the chat, and Steve Turner will be taking note of those, and we'll get them answered at the end of the presentation. So for the field personnel, we will not be having live Zoom training sessions, but we did make some short videos that we've uploaded to YouTube on different things that they could be using on the iPad. And also the superintendents out on the job site will be able to help train them and answer any questions they might have. So I'll email out this agenda, and it'll have all these links with it after the presentation's done. So that's a little bit of overview on why we're using it and how we're going to utilize it. I'll jump into account creation here. I sent out an email to everybody asking who at their office would need to be the person of contact to register for the BIM360. I think I received everybody's and have sent out those invites. So if I send it to the wrong person or you have not seen it, if you would let me know who needs to get that email, and I'll resend it and send it to the correct person. When you get an invite, you should have received an email from Autodesk that looks like this, and it'll have a button here that says activate your membership. Once you click that, it'll take you to a screen that'll have your account creation here. You would just make your username and password. So if you do not remember seeing that, or if you need it sent again, just let me know and I can resend it. We will only have one account for each trade partner. So the main person who registers their email will be the ones who get the email notifications. You'll get email notifications when submittals are back to you and approved, when RFIs are answered and stuff like that. So that'll be the only person getting the emails, but you can share your account. So I would create a password you don't mind sharing with people. And we do encourage you to share this account with your organization. So
if I want to let somebody else sign on or share,
same username and password.
Huh?
Same username and password.
Just let me have my username.
Yeah. So Jerry Moore's here in the office with us, and he asked if you want to share your account, how you do that, and they would use the same username and password that you use to log in. So it'd be whatever email and password. We do not have access to your login information, so make sure you save it in a place you'll remember. They also have a reset password on the website if you need it, but we cannot look up this information for you. After you get done creating your account, you'll want to save this link. This will be the address that you go to log in to BIM360. And so make sure you bookmark that or save it. So that's going to be an important link there. So I'm going to switch over and start going over the actual website. So I'm going to go to that link right there, and I already have it saved here. So when you first go, it'll ask you to sign in. Once you get signed in, you'll have two buttons here. You might not have this BIM360 docs, but that's okay. You're going to want to go into the project homepage. Hope it loads.
Oh my gosh. I would assume if you got multiple projects, you pick one before you pick homepage.
I'll show you that here in a second. We'll give this just a second to load. Sometimes it's a little slow getting started. Here we go. So mine's actually in the wrong project here, so I'm going to switch real quick. So when you first go on, you'll see this. This is your dashboard for every project. These individual items right here are called cards. So you'll have your project address, your weather, your field issues, your submittals, your issues, and then your RFIs. This is basically giving you an overview of your project. You can see here if you have any submittals that are required and due, if you have any outstanding RFIs that are needing to be answered, they'll be displayed here. You can customize this. I wouldn't recommend really doing too much with this. This is probably the main 3 cards you might be looking at. You can move them around if you want to, but that is customizable if you want to. So this is pretty much your landing page. It'll be your dashboard. On every page within the website, you should have this bar up here at the top that has your project name. At any time, if you're on multiple projects with us, you can click right here and switch in between the different projects. So this should be on every page whenever you're on this website. So if you're ever looking for a certain submittal or something and you're not finding it, it might be that you're on the wrong project. So just make sure you're on the right project. Right here beside project home, we have this, we call it the waffle icon. This is going to be your main navigation through the website. So here you can see document management, project management, and field management. That's going to be the 3 modules that we use in this BIM360 platform. And this is how you'll be able to switch in between. So this waffle icon here should be on every page that you're on, and then it'll let you know what module you're in right here. That's pretty much it for the site overview as far as your dashboard. We'll go ahead and go into the document management module and start going over what we'll be using on there. So when you go to the BIM360 document management, you'll see up here on the top, you have 4 tabs. You have folders, reviews, transmittals, and issues. You won't be using these 3, reviews, transmittals, and issues, so you don't have to worry about those. The only one you'll be working in is folders. And folders is basically where we will keep all of our documents. We'll have the plans and any other documents that you have access to. So over here on the left, it's kind of broken up into 2 parts. You have your plans on top and then project files. So if we open up the plans folder, you see that we have Pathway Church. This is just what I brought in here for the mock project. If you click in there, it's pretty much like a folder tree. You'll see the folders that are inside of this folder, and you should have all your plans here. Anytime we have a revision, we will upload them to BIM360 and it'll automatically slip sheet the plan that it is. So anytime you're looking at these, it should automatically be the most current version. If we've had any ASIs or addendums, it'll be in here as the most current version. You don't have to worry about looking at older sheets.
Same as the first time.
Yes. So
If you want to review an older sheet,
and Jerry brings up a good point. If you want to view an older sheet, you have a version down here. So this is the first version that we've uploaded to BIM360. If we slip sheet it with a more current, then it'll have a V2 by it, and you can actually click in which one you want to view. So if you wanted to view an older one, you could.
thank you.
Once you get in here, you can switch between if you want it to just be a list, or if you want previews on it, that'll be right up here is how you'll switch between that. We'll go ahead and go into one of these plans, just click to open it. Once you open it, it's pretty much like a PDF viewer. Your plan will load. You'll see any markups that you make. This is going to be one area that could be beneficial for your field guys to have an iPad. You can make markups on your plans. Over here on the right, you have your markup toolbar. And if you wanted, they could be keeping track of as-built. Any markups you make on these plans will only be seen by your company. Nobody else will be able to see them. So at the end of the project, if you're keeping track of your as-builts, you could just download these plans with your markups and submit them as your as-built. So it can be a real useful tool to speed up the as-built project at the end of the project and have a more accurate set of as-builts. When you're in here, you'll see that these details are highlighted. That means that they are hyperlinked, and you can go just by clicking on it, it'll give you a preview, and you can click on it and go to whatever page is hyperlinked there. When you go to that page, if you want to return back to the previous page you're on, right here where it says return, you can click down on that and go back to the previous page. If you're on this page and it has more hyperlinks that you want to go to, you can click on one of those and it'll take you to that page. And at any point you can return to whatever page you were on previously. It's a quick way to get around. If you have a page that you've been keeping as-builts on or have a bunch of markups on and you want to see something without the markups on it, they have an option to turn off the markups. So down here at the bottom, you have 3 little buttons here. If you look at this one, it says hide all markups. If you click that, you can turn them off to where you don't see them if you're wanting to look at something in there in the way, and you can turn them back on whenever you're done. You also have one that say issues and RFIs. If we create any issues or RFIs at the GC level, then you might see some yellow or purple dots here on your plan. That means that we've linked an RFI or an issue to that location. You can also turn those off if you don't want to see them at a certain time. To exit out of the plan, you can just go up here to the right and exit out, and it'll take you back to your main screen here. You can go to any plan you want. If you're wanting to download any of the plans, you can click right here to highlight them, and you can hit these 3 dots and click download source files. It will tell you that it must have pop-up dialogues enabled. Most browsers, I think, already have that enabled. So if it's not downloaded for any reason, it's because you don't have pop-ups enabled. You can also click right here if you're wanting to download the whole folder, and you can download all the plans in that folder the same way. Going back up to the top here, you cannot download an entire folder like this. If it's an actual folder, it will not let you download those. You have to actually download what's in the folders altogether. I don't know why it's set up like that, but just something to let you know. If you're trying to download folders, you have to download what's inside them. Moving on down here where you see project files. So that's basically files that we will upload and we want to share with you guys. It'll probably look grayed out, but that's because you don't have access to all the folders. If you keep going down, you should see one that says trade partner folders, and this is what you'll have access to. So we'll keep a copy of all the ASIs, the construction schedule, geotech report, permits, RFIs, specifications, and submittals. And this will work just like the plans folders do. So if you click into one of these, you'll see if we have anything in here. So right here I have an example of a schedule. So once you open it up, it's pretty much just like the PDF viewer that you're on when you're in the plans. If you wanted to make any markups, you could. If you wanted to turn off anything, you could turn it off down here. This is mainly just going to be the review documents that we have in here, though. So that's pretty much all we'll be using the BIM360 document management module for. This is pretty much just for you guys to be able to view plans and project files that we have for you guys.
And I take it after the project's over, there'll be a way for us to save that to our system, and it'll be ours for perpetuity?
You could go here and download what's in here.
Okay. And you won't have to have BIM.
Once you download it, you would not. So Jerry is asking, once you're done with the project, if you could download these and save them. You can download them and save them onto your computer when it's done. And so you could always go back and reference if you wanted to.
Along that same line, we've done a takeoff on our computer, on our estimating program. It's all marked up, what goes where and what have you. Is there a way to incorporate that into this system?
To where you could view it on here?
Well, if you're gonna have, if you wanna share ours with what y'all are seeing on job site, to see whether we have a conflict of interest or interpretation.
Yeah. So we could look at creating a folder if you wanted to where you could send that to us and we could put it in there and we'd have access and you would have access to it.
Okay.
It won't be something that's readily available all the time, but we could look at doing that on a case-by-case basis.
Just thought.
So we'll go ahead and switch over to the project management module. So when you get into the project management module, up here at the top, you'll see 3 tabs. You'll see RFIs, submittals, and meetings. We will not be using the meetings tab. We will just be using the RFIs and submittals tab. So I'll start with the RFI tab here. What you're looking at here is pretty much a log of the RFIs that you have created or have been answered in the project. So these ones that say closed, if another trade partner submits an RFI and it's been answered by the architect, you will be able to see it and be able to look at the information that was asked. So, and to do that, you can just click on them and open them up. And you'll see that this one's closed and distributed, so everybody can see it. And as you go through here, you'll see that it has the title. It's got the official response from the architect or one of their consultants. And it has some more information about who was assigned to and the due date it had. You'll also be able to see the question that was asked and if it was linked to any documents or anything was referenced. So most of this information won't be pertinent. You'll probably just want to be seeing what the question was and what the answer was. If you go to this tab over here that says attachments, if there was any attachments that was uploaded with the RFI, if they submitted any marked up plans or anything, you can actually download and look at those. So here's an example of another project I uploaded for this. So here you can see the same thing. It's a PDF version of the RFI. So here's the title, here's the question that was asked, and here's the answer that the architect gave. And then also underneath it is the marked up plan that was submitted with the RFI. So this will be useful if there's any RFI answers that were submitted and you might need a reference back at a later time. You can go in and look at those. So these 2 submittals here are just examples of submitted ones. So after you create them and submit them, they'll have a submitted status, and that means that we're waiting on either the GC or the architect to answer this for you. I'm going to go up here and go through creating a sample RFI. To do that, you'll go up here and click on the Create RFI button. So anytime you have an RFI that you want to submit to us, this is the process you'll go through. When you click on Create RFI, it'll open up this screen here. Under status, you're going to want to make sure that's always submitted, and then you'll have a title. I'm just making something up here. What is light fixture G assigned to? That'll always be the project manager for this project. So it's either going to be myself, Sterling Barnett, or Todd Zumbar. That should be the only option that you have. So you want to always assign it to your project manager. You'll select a due date. Our standard due date is going to be 10 days for review. We ask that you try to give us 10 days to review RFIs and get answers back to you. And we do understand that there's stuff that comes out in the field and you need answers quickly, so you can be accurate when you need an answer by, but we ask that you try to allow us 10 days. So just select whatever date you need it back by. You want to make sure to submit your question. Make sure it's detailed in your referencing plans, details, or specs, and make it as detailed as possible for the architect to answer. Down here on suggested answer, we ask that you try to submit a suggested answer if you can. A lot of times it'll make the RFI process a lot faster if the architect or consultant is just approving your suggestion rather than coming up with their own. So down here under that, we have attachments. If you have any marked up plans, you can attach them here. And there's two ways you can do this. If you go to browse, you'll see that it brings up this. This is pretty much your documents management. So all the folders that you've seen there. So if you made up some markups for this RFI on a plan, you could attach that plan here with those markups, and that could be part of your RFI. And you can also, if you just marked up a plan on your computer, you can upload that also from down here on upload from your computer. So from there, you could attach anything that you marked up from your computer. So quick way, you know, if you mark up any of your plans, you can attach them right there. So you won't have to worry about references, no linked documents. This section you do not have to worry about filling out. Impacts you do not have to worry about filling out. And other attributes you do not have to worry about filling out, or distribution. So these are all areas that we will fill out at the GC level before we send it to the architect. So to go over real quick again, the only things you'll need to fill out are status, the title, the assigned to, the due date, the question, the suggested answer, and any attachments that you have. The rest will be filled out by your project manager at the GC level. When you're done, you just hit create. And then you'll see it pops up here as a new RFI. Once you get it back, you'll get an email notification that it has been answered, and you'll be able to come in here and see the response to it. So that is about all we will be doing on RFIs. You'll basically be using it to look at any past RFIs or submitting any RFIs that you need. We'll go ahead and switch to submittals here. So when you get onto the submittals tab, you'll see this little box here. So this is basically going to have all your submittal information. They break them down by status, the spec section that it evolves to, and then the title and the type of submittal that it'll be. There's some other information, but those are not. It'll also have the due date that we're asking for you. We'll try to be accurate on the due date that we're going to request it from you guys, but there's a lot of times where it's hard for us to have an accurate date on when we need it by. So you see a couple of submittals here. You see some that say required, some that say closed, and one that says opened. Whenever you first get onto the submittals tab, us at a GC level, I have already put into the system all the submittals that would be required. So if you see one that says required, that means that it's required from your company to submit that submittal. If you see that it's open, that means that you have already submitted that submittal and you're waiting for a response from the GC or architect. And once the submittals have been returned and approved from any trade partner, you can actually look at them and reference them. So this will eventually, once we have all the submittals back approved, you'll be able to see all the submittals from the entire project. So anything, if you have coordination with another trade partner and you want to see something in their submittal, you can open it up and look at it. So I'll open up one of these and kind of show you how you can see what they submitted. When you first open it, you have a couple tabs here. You have overview, details, attachments, and activities. In the overview, it kind of gives you the title, some details about it, what spec section it was for, gives the official response from the architect, and the document that they uploaded as part of the approval. So this is going to be the document that you want to reference. You also have a document in here that was attached for review. This is what the trade partner submitted to get reviewed by the architect. This is going to be the response approved submittal that has any comments that they might have had. So that'll be important. You can also access it by the attachments tab, and you'll just look for official response here. You can see which one was actually from the architect, and then you can just download these and view them. So this is just an example from another project, but it'll pretty much open up like all the other submittals you're used to seeing, the PDF versions, and you can look through here and see. To get out of this, once you open one, you can just exit out and it'll go back to the screen. So that's how you go through if one of them say closed. If you have a required submittal, you'll look at what spec section it's for and what type of submittal we're asking for. So for example, this is a storefront submittal. Here's a spec section, and we're asking for the storefront and entrances shop drawings. So we ask that you don't submit anything else but the shop drawings for this one. If it was storefront, you might see another one down here that's asking for like the glazing product data. But whatever the submittal is asking for, we ask that you just submit that information. Once you open it up, everything should have been pre-populated already for you. So you already have the assigned to, the spec section will be in here, the priority, and the submitter due date. All you have to do is come in here and attach your submittal. So you have a PDF version of your submittal you're ready to get reviewed. You'll just drag and drop it, or you click right here on browse and find it on your computer and upload it. Once it's uploaded, you just hit submit to manager, and then that'll notify the GC that it's ready to be reviewed, and we'll download it and start reviewing it.
Hyperlink to the spec section.
Yeah. Hyperlink
Yeah, tell them
is what hyperlinked.
that is the spec section hyperlinked.
So if your project has specs, yes, there will be a copy of the spec section in your submittal. So right here where it says attachments for review, there'll also be a little thing that has the spec section where you can download it and reference it right there. I've been getting some projects now that don't even have specs. So if your project does not have specs like St. John Outreach, then you will not have anything to reference. But yes, they will be in there if you do. If you click on this attachments, you can also just get to the attachments where you can drag and drop. So 2 ways you can get to it there. So that'll be it. Once you have submitted it for review, it'll go into open status, and you don't have to worry about it until you get a response back. You will get an email notification when the submittal has either been accepted, revised or resubmit, or furnished as corrected. So you'll get an email letting you know. If you have to revise and resubmit a submittal, we'll create another submittal for you guys to submit under. So it'll say the same thing, but in the title, it will say like 01B. That means that you're submitting again on this type of submittal. If there's anything, if you log in and see that we're missing something that you want to submit, just email your project manager and ask them to add it to your submittals, and we'll go in here and add it for you so that you can submit on it. And that's pretty much all we're going to be using the submittals for here in project management. I will go ahead and switch over here to the last module, which is going to be field management. Okay, once you open up field management, you'll see we have two tabs here, checklist and issues. We will not be utilizing the checklist tab, so don't worry about that. We will just be using the issues. In the issues tab, you'll pretty much have a log here of any issues that have been assigned to your company for the project. There's 3 people that you'll probably be receiving issues from. It'll either be our safety director, the superintendent, or the project manager. There's multiple reasons that you might be receiving them. It might be small work to complete items. It might be something's missing. It might be a safety infraction one of your guys have received on the job site for that day. They'll all be here. They'll tell you what they're for. So the type will either be field issue or safety issue, or it might be a punch list item. Your subtype will give you a little bit more information about what's needing to happen, and then it'll have a title. So you'll get an email notification if you have an issue assigned to you, and you'll see different colors here. So this one, status is open, and these 2 right here are ready to inspect. And I'll go in a little bit more on what those are. So we'll open up this issue right here. It says complete painting in room 201. So if this was assigned to you and you opened it up, you'd see that it had a title. It would say who assigned it to you, and it would have your name here for it was assigned to your company. And it'll give you a little bit more information about the issue. So the due date is going to be important. We will assign a due date on when we need the issue resolved. And down here, it'll have a description of what the issue is. So right here, I just put, please make sure to complete painting in room 201 by this date. Right here where it says response, this is where once the issue has been complete, you'll put a response on how that issue was fixed. So if you completed painting, you could just put completed painting for room 201 on whatever date you completed it on. If, make sure you hit the check mark so it'll log your response. If you want to add any pictures to your response, you can do it here. Just drag and drop. They also have, if you're on your iPad, you can just take a picture with your camera. So this will be another good place for your field personnel to have an iPad. If there's an issue that they can take care of on the job site real quick, they can just open it up, type their response, attach a picture that it's been done, and then once you are complete, you change this open right here at the top right, you change it to ready to inspect. And that lets whoever you assigned it to you know that they need to check that this issue has been resolved. So under the assign to on this screen, you'll want to assign it back to whoever assigned it to you. So if it was your project manager, assign it back to them. If it was the superintendent, you would assign it back to them. And if it was the safety director, you would assign it to Jeremy Lineball. Then you can add any comments if you want to. You don't have to. Then you'll hit done. And you can exit out of that. And then you'll see here that that one is now ready to inspect. Once the GC inspects it and that it's done, then we will change this to closed and it will disappear off your screen here. You won't see it anymore. So this will also come in handy. This is how we will do our punch list. So when it comes punch list at the end of the project, you will probably see a lot of issues here pop up. They'll be labeled punch list, and that's how we'll do it. We've been using this program for the past couple of years, so you're probably used to seeing the PDF reports that we've been sending to you guys that have had the location and detail and all that. That's pretty much what we were doing in here, and we were sending a PDF report. So now, instead of sending those reports, you guys are going to be closing them out on this platform. So
Reiterate that, who will create an issue?
So the GC will be the ones creating the issues. You only receive an issue from the safety director, from a project manager, or from a superintendent. You guys will not be creating any issues. You guys will just be resolving any issues that get assigned to your company. Okay, that is it for the issues. So we have went through all 3 of the modules now. Looks like we have about 20 minutes left here, so I'll go ahead and open this up to questions.
Okay, we need to make sure that everybody knows that the iPad app and the desktop version look differently.
Okay, yes, so Steve said to make sure that you guys know that the desktop app or website and the application on the iPad look different. So
Be sure to go to the FPI channel for your crew members and look at those videos.
Yeah.
From the iPad.
yes, so the links to the YouTube videos, like Steve was saying, that is going to be training for the iPad app. It will not look like the training that we did today. So if you're going to have your field personnel using an iPad, please make sure they watch those videos. They're only about 5 to 6 minutes each. They're not long at all. So, yeah. Was there any other questions on the chat?
No, I was trying to go back to what we went through the other day. So you'll receive an email notification when an issue's waiting on you. iPad desktop look differently. You'll only upload submittals through the desktop.
Okay.
That's really good.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's no questions, we will go ahead and end the meeting. I will upload this recording of the Zoom session up to the YouTube channel. So if you ever want to reference back, you can go back and watch this video. Thank you guys for taking the time to come today, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys.